Now we have the game. It's almost like it's completed. It works fine, but we need to add the functionality, the return button, the settings button, the game. So we'll add everything here. Now the first thing we need is add the menu button. So we'll create UI button and we'll rename it to menu. Change the text to menu. Font size to 108. Make it bold. Make the color white. And background should be pure black. Change the height. Its size is 1080, so let's make it 1/3, almost 350. And height should be 120 for now. And the text is menu. And the color is white. Why is it not? Size not enough. Set it to the center. 0 0. Okay, the menu is on the canvas. This one is the menu. We are selecting the text, and the text 350 by 120. Let's go to the game. Button black, text 108. There is delete it. Let add it. Why? Okay, it's position 0 0. Percent 120. Let's the text bold 108 before E. It is fine. Let's change its color to white, and background will make it black. And everything should be black. No color is, every color is black. We won't get any problem. And let's position it at the top center. Position Y is 0. Let's add the height, -60 actually. And position X, -300. 370. Let's make it -360. -365 is fine. And let's change this width. Segment. Okay. The width is 1080, 400, 350 is fine. So that was the menu button. -3. Duplicate it and add the settings. Rename the text to settings. And position it at the center. Position. So, oh, -10, 20, 30. Everything should be like they are arranged together. We'll set it time. And the last one is the restart. It just restarts the game. and the text is restart. So let's position that. Restart is towards the extreme right, 5, and let's make it's fine. Menu working correct. Settings -0. Let's change the size a bit, 320, 380, 400. 390 is good. It fits perfectly. 90. Let's make it 400. So it's like a back strip. It is. So these are the 3 buttons. Now the buttons are all set, and we'll need the menu background. So we'll create it as an image, and we'll name it as settings bg with settings background. We'll position it the center. Let's set it to 00 first. The color is white is good, and the width is 1000. Is too much. 900 by the height is 2000, so almost 1500 will be good. So it's like a white box which shows the settings, and in settings we'll add first a toggle, and we'll rename it to switch to AI. And it's like too tiny now, so let's change the width to 600 and the height to 150. Change it afterwards. Just add one more UI and rename it to return. So we'll copy the menu now and add it to the settings bg, position it 00, name it to return. Settings bg is positioned. Okay, return, change the text to return, and the return menu is working. Let's position it appropriately. Let's change the position y to it's going up. -200 is fine. -200. Okay. Let's change the width to something like 500. 150. Now let's go back to switch to AI. How much it was? 600 widths. Great for, and the height was 150. Both heights are 100. Now change the switch to AI tag. We need the normal color to be black. Let's change the label first. Rename it to switch AI. The font size 108. It's good, and 80 is better because we set everything to here in the center. Let's make it bold. Good. Switch to AI. We don't need the background. Let's make it black. It's that background. The check mark. Check mark. Let's change the source image to a knob and change the size to like 100 by 100. Position. It's the background. 00. 50. position X. Let's see if I is good. What will happen? Background check mark. AI. Let's set the position Y to some 100, 300. Now this one is the switch to AI toggle. Now let adds to player text UI text, and we'll name it player name and change to player name and 80, and let's change the height to 150, width to 600, position it in the center, and 150. It is good. Enter player name. Yeah, 800 is good. So this is an option for entering the player name. Now duplicate it and we'll rename it to opponent name. And set the position to something like negative 100 or 300 is good. 300. Now we'll add an input field to get in the player name. Drag in an field and we'll rename it to player name data and add it to the settings BG. Player name, then we have player name data. We don't have any image, but the color will be pure black. The size is 800, 150, and let's position it to 0, 0. The negative Y 50, 75, 75 is good. Now normal color black, highlighted black, test black, selected black. And the text, we don't need any text for now, but we'll need to have the text when there's some we add some text to it, like changing the player name and name. So let's change the player name first and rename it to opponent name. It's the opponent name data, and place it at negative 400, 450, 70, 485. 485 is good. So that's the settings BG. Everything's good. Now we'll need it to disable it. We'll only show it when the settings button is pressed, and default switch to AI is true. Now let's add the functionality for the menu settings and restart button. So we'll add the functionality in the game manager. Let's switch to the game manager, and here is the game manager. Upset now. Act 8. Don't need update. Delete the update, and this is the wake. So public void restart. We'll name it game. What it will do is we don't add using. We'll just add it from here. Add like Unity engine dot scene management dot scene manager dot load scene, and we're restarting, so its index is 1. Now the next one is the public void go to main menu And this one is the same, using Unity engine.scene management scene, but this time we are going to the main menu scene, which index is 0 because we created it first, and the next one is the public void settings. Open settings, because if there's some name already defined on some function, so we'll confuse it, like we want to start, but start is that before selecting the awake, update, and start, so it will create conflict, so we'll name it game start. Similarly for settings, we'll call it open settings, and we'll set the game object to true. And which game object it is? The image game object. So we'll set it to serialize field, and we'll call it game object, and it is settings bg, and we'll call it settings bg dot set active to true. Oh, it was game manager. We need game object. What is happening? Okay, the game object settings bg dot set active to true. By default, it will be false. So whenever the game is selected, we'll do it in the awake. Is opponent AI is equals to true. Settings bg dot set active to false. So it's done here. And whenever it is shown, we have like 3 buttons. The first one is the public void return. So we'll name it to return from settings. And all it does is settings bg dot set active to false, because we already added the setting. Now it will do it to false. Now the another one is public void change AI, and it will take an option of bool, because in toggle we have like toggle on or is toggle off, and when the value is changed, we'll call it is AI, and is opponent AI is equals to is AI. And the another one is the name change, public void set player name, and it will accept as a string name. We'll name it something like what we'll call input name, and we'll set the player name is equals to input name. And the another one was for the opponent name. We'll set opponent name, and it's a string. Input name, opponent name, and we'll set here the opponent name is equals to whatever the choice is put name. Now we added all the UI functions, the game manager. Now we'll set the game all the functions to here. So let's open Unity. And the first one is the top 3, menu, settings, and restart. So let's first set the game manager, whatever objects are here remaining. Settings BG is here, which will set to true. Now the first one is the menu. The menu will add listener, on click event, and the menu we are setting it to go to main menu. Now the second one is settings. The settings we have the similar game manager and go to menu, set player name, open set. Restart, again game object is game manager, on click event, and is game restart. Now in the settings BG, we have all the different buttons. So let's set it to true for now, and let's first set the return. In return, add the game manager, and return from settings and switch to AI on value change boolean. Remember, we'll add the parameter boolean. This is for boolean, so whenever it's on or off, it will change it depending on the value, and we'll name it to change AI bool. So this one is only possible. Here is a return on value change the function parameter, and the same is for player name data on value change at the game manager. Now here we have dynamic string and the static parameter. I don't know, but we have to call the dynamic string, so it is called whenever the string is changed, and we have the set player name for the player name data, and similarly for the name whenever the value is changed, we'll set it at the game manager, and set opponent name. So everything is fixed. Now uh, it's like whenever we are entering, we are saving it in the game manager, but the reverse is not true. Whatever is the game manager, whenever we restart the game or whenever the app is open, we need it to show it here. So let's first check all the settings. So any error, no menu, we are going to the menu, start menu, quit. Let's begin it again. Menu is working. Let's go to settings and return working, restart. So let's play again. The game is raw. Restart is working. Setting. What is happening? Enter player name. I I need to change the text. Let's change it. Let's go to the first settings. Settings BG. Switch to AI. Normal color, pressed color, highlighted color. Black. Black is good. Toggle transition disabled color. The color is black. Background color is black. Let's set the back. The background is an image. This is the switch to AI. Normal color, highlighted color, press select disable. Background is, I think, so this is the background. Return. And we'll select it to be white. Yep, white is good. AI background. The background is changed. Normal, highlighted, press. Yeah, we don't need to change this, but we need to change the knob. Selected is black. Pressed is black. There is no need for highlighted, and don't need for label is good. Background, check mark. It's just an image. Let's play it again and see how it works. Pick, pick. AI is true. Let's try to make it right. How it look, because we just need the center color to be good. The image is removed. So which one is true? Okay, we'll need to be black. So it is selected at first. We'll unselect it because AI is always true. When I want to play a two-player game, we'll change it to that one. So everything's all right. The player name. We can't see anything. Set the player name data. Let's set the text to here. Placeholder, okay. Text is stretched. Size 80. The center and the center color make it right. The left. Center is good. It to bold. That's similarly for the name data. 80 bold. It at the center. Color to pure. So these are the player name and the it again. Let's see how it is. You can change the name to Zaref. Opponent is N. So that's working fine. We'll restart. It will change again. Now the player name and the opponent name are changed. Let's try to as to AI is true. Will name myself Zaref. Will return Zaref wins. Okay, it's working. But whenever we create restart, it again restarts to player. I do whenever I win. It is set to player. So we need something which stores every setting, and whenever we call it, we can change the player name. Now there's one more setting remaining to do, and that's the animation. We'll set the animation later. So first, let's add the game data, which will contain like every game data which we want to do. Let's rename it to game data empty. Let's create a script called game data. And add the game data script, the game data here. Now let's open the game data. So in game data script, we have the start and update function. We don't need it. First, we'll need it public string player name. The next one is the public string opponent name. Now the next one is the public bool, which will tell the opponent is an UI or not. Is let's opponent AI. Everything is false at the beginning. Now we'll need one more, which will call it public static game data because we can't refer it to anything. We need to call it from the game data class, and the static which we can access the data member. So we'll call it as game data player name or data opponent name, and we'll set it in the awake. So if data is equals to null, so if it is null, then data is equals to this, and we'll set the player name is equals to player, and the opponent name is equals to, we'll set it to AI. And is opponent AI is always true from the beginning. And don't destroy on load, because we need to set it whenever the game is restarted. So it will never be destroyed, and we can access it from the public static game data class. Or if it is not null, don't destroy on load game object, and we'll return it. So if it is not null, we'll just destroy the game object. So everything's working fine. The game data is working. So restart creates, but this game data will not get deleted whenever the game is restarted, so we can set it. So in the game manager, first we'll set the player name. Set player name is equals to input name, but we'll set the player name, the data also to input. And again, game data dot data opponent name equals to opponent. And in the beginning, we'll not call it like this. We'll call from the game data class, game data dot player name. And here again, game data dot opponent name. Is opponent AI is equals to true, which was already true. First, let's set it to true. And first, let's check if his opponent AI equals to game data dot is opponent AI. If it does not exist, we'll set it to true here. So whenever the game is, no, we don't need. Select determine winner. So whenever the name is changed, we'll set the player name. And whenever the settings, okay, the settings is called, we need to set its text to the player name and the opponent. So we'll add two text, realize field, text, call it as player name input, and print. So whenever the settings is called, open settings, will first set the player name text, player name input dot text equals to player name, and opponent name input dot text is equals to. And the both text are the text which are going in the input field. The player name we have set, the opponent AI we have set. At first it is true. Let's go and add the functionalities. Let's see if it's working. Go into the Unity, game data, the opponent AI. We have set it in the awake. It is true. And the next one is game manager. We need to add the two text settings BG. That is the opponent data text, which is player name text. Sorry, player name data text, which is the player name text, and the opponent name data text. So whenever we play, there an error. Let's set the player name to Zaref. Return, and whenever we return to settings, see there is Zaref. Whenever we restart, actually it's set to player, but it's actually Zaref. Let's see, the game is draw. We'll again restart. The game is draw. AI wins. Okay, let me win. What the heck is happening? The game is draw. Game is draw. Zaref wins. So it is actually set from Zaref, but there's some error. The error, it is like the player name is not getting accessed because we are accessing the player name in the awake function, and game manager is always the first script to be awake. So when we refer to the game data dot player name, game data is not created. That awake is not created, so we'll not get data. So whenever the game is restarted, we cannot set the text to that, but the text is always saved because we are referring from the player name. So everything's working. Now what is remaining is only the animations. We can go to menu, play the game, AI wins. Now let's switch to AI. Restart the game, settings, switch to AI, see, player wins, restart, okay, switch to AI. We didn't make on input change. The opponent AI is equals to is AI, but we need to set to at the beginning. We need to change it here. What needs to change? Game. I am still in the Unity editor, sorry. So what problems we are facing now? The menu is working, the restart is working, the settings is working. Let's go to the menu. Start is working, quit is working. Start is always working good. Can add the player name and the opponent name. Let's set it to AI. Whenever return and restart, if the opponent wins, it will set to the player. And we can change it once again here. Restart, if win. So my name, Serif. Why doesn't it let me win? That's some. Okay, I win. Serif wins. There was a typo mistake, but forget it. Serif, return now. When switch to AI is false, we need to show it that it is false. So let's go to the scripting. Is opponent AI is true? Whenever the values change, we call game data dot is opponent AI equals to, and the awake function, like we set the text, we didn't set the text. The opponent AI will set the toggle to this. In the settings function, we need to set the toggle. So let's add a toggle, serialized field, and it's a toggle. We'll call it AI. Let's call it something else. Toggle slash. So toggle slash is AI dot is on is equals to is AI. That's AI. Whenever the settings is called, player name, not text. Toggle AI dot is on is equals to the opponent AI, and is opponent AI, everything's fine. Let's see if it works. Settings. Okay, we need to refer the toggle to the game manager. Switch to AI, that one's toggle. Let's start. Settings, false, done. Go to settings, it's working. Settings. But there's an always problem with the input field, I think. What I told you, no, the game data is always called after the game manager, so we can't get the data from it. But it works always fine. There is no problem. There is no error.